We have an official statement from Steph Curry saying, "Gonna miss you, Klay Thompson. Even though we won't finish the journey together, what we did will never be done again. Couldn't have imagined a better run with you and Money Green, Draymond. Change the whole Bay Area. Change the way the game is played. Killer Klay at the center of it all. Thank you for everything, bro. Go enjoy playing basketball and doing what you do. Splash Bros for life." You know, what can you really take away from a, publicly sanitized goodbye on Instagram? I look at that last line. Go enjoy playing basketball and doing what you do. I don't know how much Klay has enjoyed playing basketball since coming back from his Achilles injury. Yeah, they were able to manufacture a championship that a lot of people didn't expect at the end there, and that was fantastic. But the amount of joy that Klay Thompson experienced, I think, on a daily basis was muted by just the constant evaluation of his basketball mortality. How much did he have left? What can he still do for the Warriors? Can't help but notice that he can still have a good night. He just can't summon it the way that he used to. We have talked about this an awful lot. Look, what I don't want here in the aftermath, and it started to creep out just a little with some of the reports that people who are around the Warriors are saying, like he turned into a little bit of a problem. Beware the "he became a problem" story. I think Klay became frustrated. I think an awful lot of NBA players become frustrated in their careers, and it's dealt with almost a worse outcome than Klay was dealt with. Klay might have gotten a little upset, a little pouty at the end, a little, upset with the way that Steve Kerr was managing his minutes and his role on the team. But everything he did publicly facing basically, let us know that he was aware of a declining skill set. He became increasingly frustrated with himself and the team for sure, and how he was used. But Klay, the problem, I don't think Klay was ever really a problem for the Golden State Warriors. You look at the most controversial thing that might have happened throughout his entire career. He once hit our friend Whitley in the head with a paper airplane after a press conference. Like, that's about as much trouble as Klay's ever gotten into. The guy was the perfect teammate for over a decade. So don't let the unraveling of a couple of frustrating years, I think, for everybody involved with the Warriors. I think everybody on the Warriors has been around each other for just maybe a little bit too long. And, you've got a lot of personalities that when they rub against each other might bother each other a little bit after you've been around each other for so long. I think what's happened is normal and natural and not abstract. The split, a little bit sour, but look, things usually end badly. And things usually end worse than this. Now, it sucks because the guy's beloved. It sucks because there's an awful lot of parents who had to have that talk with their kids about how sometimes business and sports get in the way of each other, and this is why Klay Thompson's not going to be here anymore. I'm sure that there were plenty of tears, for younger Warrior fans who found out that Klay Thompson wasn't going to be here anymore. And that always hurts, but that happens in sports. It's going to come for you eventually. You just don't know where it's going to come from. I know that there's been a lot of frustration with the fact that the Warriors were, only able to turn one of their greatest players in franchise history into 2 second-round picks. But the truth is that Klay could have been gone for nothing. So 2 second-round picks doesn't sound like a lot, but it is better than nothing. Him agreeing to the sign trade did a little something for the Warriors on the way out the door, but not very much. The truth is, the real way to have extracted some value out of Klay Thompson for really going forward future value would have been to do the unthinkable, which was to trade him in the last couple of years. Like, the Warriors didn't have the stones to do that. They might have had the stones to move on at this point in time. They might have had the stones to slow play him, knowing that that might rub him the wrong way. And Anthony Slater explored that, and we're going to get into that here in just a second. But they didn't have the balls to trade him straight up. They did have the ganas to let him actually walk away, which, look, they still put a $48 million offer in front of him before the year even started, and he said, "No, I'm not signing it." So, I just think that the fuse had burnt all the way down to the end. And again, go enjoy playing basketball and doing what you do. I don't know how much enjoyment Klay Thompson got out of his last couple of years in a Warriors uniform. Now, it is a job, right? It's not supposed to be enjoyed at all times, but, it gets frustrating, and guys attach their egos to their game and their paycheck. And, Klay felt disrespected there. Anthony Slater, who, it does as good a job covering the Warriors as any beat writer does on the team that they're sitting on. Anthony Slater broke it all down, and he basically said, Klay Thompson operates on his own wavelength. The Warriors' decision makers were warned that a drawn-out negotiation into July during his free agent cycle wouldn't be met the same way. He wasn't trying to leverage his way back until the bitter end, and after a bumpy end to a grumpy year, there was a realistic chance that he went searching for a fresh start and more happiness elsewhere, regardless of how rapidly and warmly the Warriors prioritized him. Again, this goes back to, does he even want to be around? I mean, think about how it honestly would have ended. Suppose Klay Thompson is still a Golden State Warrior, and they are either a playoff participant and not much more, or don't make it deep into the playoffs, or maybe even miss the playoffs as they did in Klay's final year because they blow it in the play-in tournament. Do you think Klay would be laid down gently by what has turned into one of the more obnoxious fan bases in the NBA? No, he would have been ridden hard and put away wet, and everyone would have ended on a dour note anyway. Like Klay Thompson walking away, and it's better to say goodbye a year too early than a year too late. Like it just feels like this break is so sudden and new, it hurts, but it's not the worst thing that could have happened. There was little communication between Thompson and the Warriors and his agent, Greg Lawrence, and ultimately no offer came in this cycle. Warriors sources maintain a plan to eventually make a competitive offer in relation to his market once business was settled, but they never even had a chance. Many league sources said that Thompson's decision to depart was unofficially made a few weeks ago. You can spend all the time you want being angry at the Warriors for slow playing a negotiation, maybe inviting with their actions an opportunity to walk away, but it sounds like Klay has been mentally walking away from the Warriors. And if you're a believer that the video doesn't lie, Klay Thompson goes 0 for 10 up in Sacramento as the Warriors lose their last chance to enter the playoffs. They lose to the Kings up in Sacramento at Golden 1. As Klay is walking off the court, he physically does a U-turn and takes one last look around. In the moment, maybe it didn't mean very much, but hindsight always being 2020, knowing what we know now, it really did look like Klay Thompson was taking one last look from the Warriors sideline in his Warriors uniform because he knew he wasn't going to be wearing it going forward. I think Klay Thompson mentally divorced himself of the Warriors going forward before the Warriors even realized that that's what they were doing. And I honestly don't begrudge the guy the opportunity for a fresh start somewhere. Again, Klay Thompson would have been the dying embers of a dynasty that wasn't going to burn as brightly as it once did. Or he can go to a new situation and represent, hey, a new avenue to win, a new toy to play with. Klay Thompson might have been a lot of things for the Golden State Warriors at the end, but a new toy to play with certainly wasn't going to be one of them. It stinks that things come to an end. But that's the way sports works. And as everybody is trying to come up with the hottest take and identify or find the bad guy, what I think is we just have a lot of mutual frustration boiling over into a decision that when you really think about it, it's not as rash as some people are trying to make it out to be. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.